And welcome back. We have been joined for our final segment by students from the Ecumenical Junior College and of course one of their instructors at EJC. We have with us in studio this morning Ifasina Efunyemi. Good morning. We also have khimar Spence. Good morning. And Peala Martinez.
Yeah.
And they are part of the debate team that was successful
That's
in
right.
arguing certain topics during the Social Security National Tertiary debate. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Congratulations. Back-to-back championships.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I only want to imagine what your classrooms must be like in preparing for these debates. But we do want to say congratulations and thank you for taking the time to come in to speak to us about what it feels like to win. But not only that, you know, the presentations that you make during the debate are things that I think have been a part of the larger conversations. And so you participated in a debate on the United Nations Conventions on Anti-Corruption, and you also participated in the debate on the exact question that is to be put to referendum, which is whether or not we take the territorial dispute to the ICJ. And in both debates, you were in a negative position and successful in the debate. Fascinating. So let's talk about the preparation for this, Ifasina.
Well, as usual, it's all about research. So as soon as the Social Security Board, and we have to always big up Mrs. Osaeta, she keeps us well informed and well ahead of time. So once we get the moot, then we just start researching, and we have to prepare for both sides. Yeah. So it's finding out what are the facts that would support the argument and what are the facts that would go against the argument. And then we prepare the entire debate, affirmative and negative, because the way that the competition is designed, you don't know what position you will be arguing. So we have to research everything. And sometimes when we get the side that we get, when we don't win the coin toss and we just have to take what comes, there are times we prefer a particular side. But like I keep telling the team, it matters not what our personal views are. Yeah. When we have to go and argue, we are going to argue the position that we get, and we're going to argue it exceptionally well. So that's what we've done each time.
So for the two times that you guys were in a negative, which of these two instances would you have wanted to be on the other side of the coin? Yeah.
Well, interestingly, I would have liked, because I give the team a lot of power, leverage. I'm their coach, but I'm training them to be responsible citizens, young people who can make choices and participate. So they would decide. So once we have prepared all the arguments, then I would ask them, well, how do you feel going into the debate? Which side would you be more comfortable with? And they decided that they wanted to do the negative for the UNCAC debate.
For UNCAC?
Yes, they wanted to do the negative. They were more comfortable with the negative.
And the territorial, at the ICJ?
We were torn about the ICJ. I was in the affirmative, and so we went into it wanting to do the affirmative, but we prepared for the negative. I mean, we went down to PG, we went down to the border, went to the Sarston, and so we were ready for either side. So when we were on the bus, it's like, okay, well, whatever comes, if we don't win, we'll work with whatever comes.
Now, Pearla, you've been in this twice. How has being able to participate in this kind of a discussion at that level helped you in terms of being able to see the broader picture and be able to see our Belizean society in function?
For me, this was more of like another stepping stone, going one notch up on the ladder, because I come from a family that's really into reading and knowledge, and we're the kind of family that knows what's going on in the world. You know, most people sit around on Sunday and they just have conversation. Our thing is you watch Meet the Press and Fareed Zakaria GPS, so I'm well informed about what's going on out there. For me, it was more of giving people the opportunity to become informed. It was using my voice for something positive. Like, if you're able to do something like that, for me, that's a win. It was just being able to be up there and getting the honor to do it twice is it for me.
Khimar, tell us about your involvement.
Well, my involvement was the position of the whip, of course, and I had to practically know all the information basically to get the work done. So because my job was to listen to the other group's presentation, so I had to pay clean attention and assess where information is necessary.
Yeah. Now, this process, and I think, kudos to the Social Security team that puts it together, because what it does is it forces tertiary level institutions to talk about the issues that are affecting, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but at least we get to see it publicly. But you're talking about issues that are very important to the entire country, and issues that we hope for robust debate in the House of Representatives or in other areas, but we don't get to see it. So it's very enlightening to see young people come forward and speak of why we should or shouldn't appreciate something. And I want to start first with the UNCAC and your own personal opinions of it. So you said that it is, because you're in a negative position, that the UNCAC would not benefit Belizeans. That's the point that you had to argue. And that was the point that you wanted to argue as the debate team. Is that because it was of your personal opinion, or because you felt better prepared in that area?
For me, it was a bit of both.
Okay.
But more so in knowing how things are here, the political climate especially. It's like in our argument, we said in closing that a promise is a comfort to a fool, and in truth, that's what it is. Because there are a lot of other conventions that we have signed and a lot of laws that our country has put in that aren't necessarily upheld. So to us, it was just, another one on the list of things that we have not yet accomplished. It was just another tick on the to-do list.
That is a very interesting perspective. Yep. So in your research for this, did you go into researching for UNCAC knowing that you wanted to be in the negative position?
No, going into it, I was all for it. Yes, let's do something.
Belizeans were very excited about the signing of this
teachers
convention.
Honestly put us in a hype over it, but it wasn't going into the details of it, finding out the procedures and all the requirements, and just the list goes on, and I realized we genuinely can't accomplish this. It would take us, I don't know how many millennia before we were up to par with something like UNCAC. Just the reviews alone is like 5 years. The money it takes to put it into place. I mean, who are we going to put into place to make sure that we follow through and all of that? Because you can't ask a cat to watch milk for you. That's the logic I was taking to it.
Yeah.
What was the most eye-opening piece of information in your preparation for the UNCAC specifically that stood out to you and you think helped won you the debate? Either one, anyone can jump in.
What do you think?
Well, what I found interesting, because we looked for countries that had signed the convention. There were many, but we also looked at how they had been measured according to the Corruption Perception Index. And so we saw that there were many countries who, even though they had signed and ratified the convention for a very long time, they were also, in terms of corruption, very much not there yet. Like, they were really badly off. Like, over a series of years, I looked at every 5 years, at the years of doing the CPI, and so many of those countries were still highly corrupt, even though they had signed this convention and ratified it. And so we were like, well, clearly this doesn't say much. It has to be that the people and the government, the people in power, have to have the will. They really need to want to put a nip in corruption. And there were countries too that had maybe not ratified the convention, but they were high when it came to the corruption perceptions, that they were doing well in terms of controlling corruption in their countries. So it was clear to us that this was not just about signing a convention. There had to be systems in place in those countries that made sure that corruption would not be a major problem in those countries. It was not just about signing a convention and ratifying it. It was more than that. It was that within the character, the fabric of that society, they wanted to make sure that there was good character, there was proper distribution of income, there was accountability and transparency. So that's how we were able, we realized, okay, when you look at it technically, practically, you see the statistics, it's not just about signing a convention. It's a good idea.
Well, I was going to say, and challenging your debate skills here, couldn't it be argued that signing the UNCAC is the first sign of a political will to be able to move towards having the type of accountability and transparency that you're speaking about?
Yeah, that was the affirmative
Let's get our top debater in here. Yeah. So what do you say to that?
The thing is, signing it alone is not a guarantee. Yes, it's a show of good faith, but good faith only takes you so far. It's what happens after that step that's really important. It's like you handing me a picture and saying, "Hey, this is a nice picture, you know, enjoy it." And I say, "Oh, I love this picture," and I take it home, but it doesn't mean it's gonna be on my walls. It does not mean it's gonna be on my wall. I'm just saying thank you, I appreciate it, but it doesn't guarantee anything.
Okay, all right.
From a broader perspective, and this goes to you, Ifasina, what is your motivation behind bringing these teams together and being able to participate in this kind of a social discussion?
I love debate. I believe I was born debating. Maybe I've debated with the doctors and nurses. But
You
I
didn't
do.
coup, you started debating.
Yes. But I have a passion for good argument. And so that's my motivation. When there was a public speaking competition, that's what Social Security used to have before. And again, EJC had won those back to back, same way.
Yeah.
So when the opportunity came for the debate, I was, the assistant dean said, Social Security is asking for us to join and be a part of this, and I'm thinking about you, and I'm like, sure, no problem. I'm glad to be a part of that. And because in my classes, I teach history courses and in Caribbean Studies too, that's a general knowledge course. So I give students the opportunity to make presentations and to argue also. And so it was based on that. And when last year's coaches, we decided based on seeing our students participate in presentations in class, that's how we saw their strengths. And so we were able to approach students to say, okay, you have been doing very well. You can present very well. I've taught all of them. So I approach them, ask them, or they come and they say, Miss, I would like to be on the debate. Khimar was like that from last year. I want to be on the team. I would like to assist. And so that's how we get the team together. It's not even that we have to do this competition internally because the students, they really just present themselves.
Yes. And there's a lot of research that goes into it, and I think it's a great experience for you all to learn this. Now let's tap into that ICJ debate, because that was the one that essentially made you the champions once again, and you were once again on the negative position. Now you also took a trip to the Sarsoon River as a part of your preparation for the debate. Talk to us about what you were able to discover during your own research period and coming up with your positions, both affirmative and negative. Khimar?
Actually, I did not go to the Sarsoon with the rest of the team, but during the preparation for the ICJ debate, I did my research. We did a couple surveys to ask people about their knowledge about the topic and how many would like to go to the ICJ and how much do not want to go. And how did they learn about the debate? Just different things like that. It was good talking to people about and having open discussions about the topic so that I could gain more information and have a wider mind towards the topic.
And what was the general perception that people had? No or yes to the ICJ?
Most, 179 out of 300 said they would want to go to the ICJ. And 116 said we shouldn't.
Okay, interesting. All right. And did you go to the Sarsoon?
I didn't get to do that. Which is
But tell us what your classmates said, because obviously this helped to feed into the preparation.
They basically reaffirmed what we hear every day on the news, which is that there are a lot of Guatemalans in Belize and Territory, and abuse of our resources and all of that. But the general feel was that it was more of a political issue as opposed to a public issue, because a lot of people are aware, but it's not a point of contention for them. It's just something that's at the back of their minds. But from what people say out there, everybody is more for going to the ICJ as opposed to not going, because it's more of an end-all solution.
It brings finality one way or the other.
Yes,
But-
and that was the confidence that a lot of, in terms of the sentiments that they shared, because when we did the survey, we went to PG, we went to Benke,
Yeah.
we did it in Dangriga, we did it on campus, so we got to reach a lot of people. He did it in Placencia, Harold did it in Independence, so we tried to get a feel of a lot of the people from south of the Sibun. That 300 represented those 3 districts that are directly impacted. And when we went on that trip, I mean, we saw the Guatemalan post as opposed to the Belize post. We saw Guatemalans in our water taking, I mean, and there were several of them. That's just one that we took a picture of, but there were several of them. There are people living between Punta Gorda and Barranco who are not Belizeans. And so it made it really real, which is why I really appreciate Will Mejia's support in giving our young people the opportunity to see what's going on down there. You know?
So, if I'm to listen to you, it sounds like you were saying we should go to the ICJ, but you argued that we should not go to the ICJ. So, what were your points?
That's the thing with debate. It's for going.
So this
into
one
it,
went against your personal position.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but tell us the points that still earned you the win.
For us, it was mostly the treaties of 1859 and the exchange of notes. It's the historical value of it, going into what agreements have been made, because the issue is that Guatemala isn't, they're not keeping their word in those agreements, and that was basically our stance the entire time, just the historical references. And well, interestingly, which is a thing we talked about on the bus, was the spirituality. That was a doozy in our debate.
Spirituality.
Yes, and that was something we had talked about initially as.
How does spirituality fit into the territorial dispute?
That's where we thought we would come interestingly, because then we look to spirituality for so many things, you know, in times of need and in times of disaster. And everybody talks about sending out prayers for this, that, and the other. If we can depend on spirituality for that, why not for this matter, you know? Why it was more of an appeal to people, like, let's get together and do something for once, as opposed to looking to other people to solve our problems for us.
And yeah, because
Entirely interesting.
yes, because the people who said no, it's like they didn't have faith that we could win at the ICJ. So I'm like, well, where is our faith? Yeah, the ICJ is a group of judges. There are men and women in the panel, but we have to have faith going. Even if we go to the ICJ, we have to have faith going to the ICJ that we will win. And for a lot of people, their decision to not go to the ICJ is because they do not believe, see the word, believe, that we would win at the ICJ. And every time you hear people talking about, we can't go to the ICJ, we're going to lose part of the, that is so negative. Where is our faith?
So let's look at it from this point of view then. I'm still taking up the
I know the spirituality.
Let's look at it from this point of view, right? The bottom line would be that this in itself is an argument that will be put before a panel of judges who will preside one way or the other over the matter. My thing is, I see this as a practical approach to solving a problem. And you're presenting to me a spiritual approach. Would this let me get it correct. Do you believe that there would have been support for this position if you were to either present this in your argument or to shop this around to anybody else who would give you an ear to listen?
Yes, because I don't hear a lot of engagement of, for example, the Council of Churches and all the other religious institutions in this. I mean, when we, in the argument, we did cite that in our Constitution, the preamble states that we believe in the supremacy of God. And then we are all guaranteed, our fundamental rights are that we have freedom of conscience. So there are so many belief systems in operation in this country. I mean, and then we made reference to the Mennonites, the Chinese, the Indians, people who are Muslims, Hindus, the Garinago, the Mestizos. Everybody they do their novena, or they do their honoring of their ancestors. They do different things. it is so that they are safe and so that they can be successful. Every ethnic group in this country does that. So if we're going to go into not political, but a legal argument, because we're worried about the safety of our country and securing its borders, why not use those forces also? Because for our personal security, we say prayers and we make sure that we are, whatever we need to do, we do to take care of ourselves and our property and whatever. So why aren't we doing this collectively? Imagine 350,000 people doing what they do with the strength of the faith that they have. So we have to face a large, we use the proverbial David and Goliath situation. All of us learned that in school.
So let me just be clear though, this was the only avenue you offered outside of going to the ICJ, or you had, that was one aspect.
That was one.
And I hear you speaking about, which is also a big part of the argument, which is going back to the Treaty of 1859, the validity of it, and how that negates the fact that you may even have to go to the ICJ. What were some of the other points that you were able to deliver that you think helped to win over the judges?
Swing investment into protecting the border itself, like into our military, because prior to the contentions in the Sarstoon, there were regular military patrols. Actually, was in the 90s that a lot of our military personnel were brought into the city to deal with the gang issues. And according to people we spoke to, that incursion wasn't an issue then because there was a military presence. So if we move some people back to the border and have a presence there again, then it should serve to deter some of that incursion.
We didn't know, but some of the respondents identified themselves as former BDF. You know, they were military personnel, and we also did interview also a former military personnel who was in the regular forces. So he was able to describe to us what patrols were like and how it was in terms of dealing with the Guatemalans. So that was a strong argument for us.
Interesting. All right. So my final question to you is, obviously, our Minister of Foreign Affairs has spoken at length about why we should consider going to the ICJ with this dispute. Would you guys be prepared to be able to debate him on whether or not we should go?
Honestly, I don't think it should be a matter for debate anymore. We should be moving forward with it, and that was one of the downfalls for me in doing this debate, because in us winning on the negative, it honestly swayed some people. And I had like face to face with this, because one morning when I'm heading into town, I pick up an older gentleman, and he's talking to me about the debate, and he's like, I saw it, and it's true, you guys are right, we shouldn't go to the ICJ. I'm like, wait. Let me just say this. Let me put this out there. That was a debate.
It's not your
it's not exactly what's right, but just keep in mind you have to do the research, you have to be familiar with the content, do your best to educate yourself and then form an informed opinion, because honestly the best thing is to go to the ICJ. And I really wish that we could have done the affirmative, because I feel like we would have done it more justice as opposed to doing the negative, but that's where we stand.
That's how debates are. And I appreciate that you can adapt the role, even though your personal opinion and from your own research you found that going to the ICJ is the better option. You were still able to deliver the negative and win nonetheless, right?
So, and the thing is too, it's not, for me, it's not a one-shot thing. It's not you just go to the ICJ and that's going to solve everything. Everything we presented on the negative side and everything that exists on the positive, we should be doing. This is not going to be done, or we are not going to achieve what we want just by going to the ICJ. We still also have to secure our borders and move people to the borders and make our presence stronger and so forth. There's a lot that we still have to do.
All right. So what happens after this win? We definitely going for the three-peat after this?
Yes, definitely going for the three-peat. Interestingly, each year we lose students from the team, because every year they graduate. So this year, I mean, most of the team will be graduating. Only one first year was on the team. And so it's now about recruiting new team members.
Fresh new talent.
But I know since we've gained so much popularity, last year we had the top debater, this year we had the top debater, there are other students that are already like interested in joining the team. So I feel like it won't be a problem come August to identify new students for the team.
Okay. Well,
Congratulations.
congratulations, yes. And of course, our top debater this year was Peala. So I want to say congratulations and best of luck. You know, I think not only have you helped to educate people on these issues, but it's great to see young people who understand these issues and passionate enough to get involved at this level, right? So thank you once again.
Yes, and I'd like the opportunity to just quickly say thanks to all the people who we were able to speak with, the people that participated in the survey, and we had a lot of government officials that helped us in terms of doing, because primary sources are very important with preparations for debate. So we had Dr. Aranda, because we also did a debate, the semifinals was on equal constituencies, and so we were able to speak to people from the Election and Boundaries Commission. Ambassador Leslie helped us with this ICJ, Will Mejia, Alex Nalberta. So there were several people that were willing to talk to us. We had Mr. Briseño, Mr. Musa. They also spoke with us. So every time we needed to reach out to officials who could give us educated information on these topics, they were willing to talk to our students. So I want to say thank you. And to, of course, EJC, our administration, staff, and students, all who supported us, our families.
All right. Well, congratulations once again, and thank you for stopping in.
Yes, thank you.
All right. We're going to go ahead and take our final break now, and when we come back, we'll have our wrap-up, so stay tuned.